Yes, it's time again to try and talk a little bit about my Blu-ray collection. I've done two of these videos before and they were successful in a number of viewers. I think the first one had 172 views. The second one has, I think, 111. So it's going down, so obviously the interest is going down, but nevertheless it's enough for me to keep going for a little while. And last time, unfortunately, the video was unsynced with the picture, so I think my voice was before the picture or something like that. Anyway, I also my battery died last time, so I'm just going to continue again. So you know, if you like it, write so in the comments. If you don't, write so in the comments. I'm in a different room today because it's closer. I have my Blu-ray collection there, so it's easier to have it here in this room rather than carrying it to my room. So anyway, my battery died last time. I was supposed to do I or J, including I or J, but my battery died. My phone might die again later, but we'll see. So I'm just going to continue. So I hope the picture is okay and not flipped, but I think I can see myself and I can read Jaws. So okay, the first film on the letter I that I have is I Am Legend. This is a great film. I'm not a fan of zombie movies, but I do like some of them. I like this one. It's good. It's one of those kind of Castaway, like the Tom Hanks Castaway film, where there's basically one person in the whole film, and it's interesting how they can make a film with one person basically in the whole film, and it's still interesting. I was in New York in 2006 when they shot this film, so I saw some scenes being filmed, which I thought was cool, so that is kind of special for me. Also, this film on Blu-ray is the one that I believe was one of the first Blu-rays that I bought, and every time back in the day when Blu-ray was new and people hadn't seen it, I used this film to demonstrate the quality of Blu-ray, and that is, it was basically mind-blowing, the first couple of scenes that I showed people from this particular film, so this is kind of special for me for that. Okay, moving on. This is a series that I enjoy. It's for kids, but adults as well. The Ice Age films. This is Ice Age 3 because, again, I bought 1 and 2 on DVD and then I switched to Blu-ray and I had to buy 3 on Blu-ray. But I do have films that I want to rebuy. Yes, I am that crazy. So Ice Age 1 and 2, 4 and 5. 5 I haven't seen yet. 3 is a good, funny film. I think it's they're funny. The first 3 are definitely funny. 4 is not as good anymore, so I'm a little concerned about number 5. But Ice Age 3, check it out. Okay, this is interesting. I could talk ages about this film, but I talked about Terry Gilliam in my first video about the Adventures of Dr. Munchausen. This is a film which is very similar to that in style. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. Terry Gilliam, typical Terry Gilliam, I would say. I really like this film. It's special. I think every film buff knows why, because it's the last film that Heath Ledger made before he died. He'd actually died during the production of this, which is so typical Terry Gilliam. To have that bad luck, because he has bad luck on every film he makes. It's unbelievable. But nevertheless, they sorted that problem out very, very well, I think. So check it out. It's a good, quirky, fantasy, weirdo movie, and it's worth to see Heath Ledger's last performance. In Bruges. This is a really good film, in my opinion. I love In Bruges. It's Colin Farrell. I'm not a big fan of Colin Farrell, but he's really good in this one, about a hitman waiting for their next assignment in Bruges. It's just a weird film with it's dark, black comedy mixed with kind of weird action and dwarfs and fantasy and dreams, and It's just a funny comedy, if you can call it that. It's a comedy, quirky, black comedy. Very good. In Bruges, check it out. Okay, not all films that I have are films that I like, but I'm a collector, so I get these films because I just want them. This is, I guess, one of those films. It belongs to the Marvel Universe. It's The Incredible Hulk from, I believe, 2009. This is not the Ang Lee version from 2003 with Eric Bana, or Bana. This is with Edward Norton. And this is an improvement over the Ang Lee film, believe it or not, in my opinion. Fairly good effects, but I prefer, I'm old tradition, I'm a traditionalist. I prefer the old TV series from the 70s. But this is pretty okay for a Marvel film. This is better than Avengers and stuff. I don't like too much that. I prefer when the superheroes have their own story and their own movies rather than jamming 10 of them together and they're fighting. Alright, just real quickly, Nicole Kidman, Daniel Craig, The Invasion. This is a zombie film again. I saw it once in the cinema. I haven't seen it since, I think 2007. If you like zombie movies, this might be your thing. Why do I have it? It was cheap, and I thought I'd give it another try, and I like Daniel Craig, of course, being James Bond, so that's kind of why I got it. Okay, right, this is a little special one. I got this for Christmas last year, sorry. Independence Day double movie collection. This is Independence Day 1 and 2, the one that came out last summer, 2016. It's got both movies. The first one's classic, Roland Emmerich, that really started his career. And the sequel's pretty cool. I mean, the sequel's very Independence Day-ish, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So I got this from my father, thank you very much, tack så mycket pappa. You know, buying me movies is always the best thing you can do. But you have to be careful to make sure that I don't have it. Okay. This is actually shame on me that I don't have the original trilogy, because I have Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which is of course part 4. That's made something like 19 years after the third part. So yeah, I have this because, yeah, I need to have this. But I have the beautiful DVD box, which I really like, but I'm going to have to get the original trilogy. I mean, you can't not be a movie fan and not have Indiana Jones, and especially on Blu-ray. I'm very excited about checking that out, so I need to buy that. Or you can buy it for me as a present. Alright, moving on. Another Marvel thing, Iron Man. Can't say much about this. I really liked this when it came out. It was exciting, good effects. Robert Downey Jr. is just a blast in this film. This is the first one. Yeah, you all know Iron Man, I guess. I'm not going to go all crazy because I have quite a lot to go through. Iron Man 2, of course. I don't particularly like when series have... That's the only thing I have a grudge against this Independence Day box, because I like to have the films in their own cases. So I want part 1, part 2, part 3 as their individual cases. That's how I am. I don't like when they make like a packet with all the parts in a package. It's nice, but I like, they all have their individual posters, and it's just me as a movie buff, basically. I'm going to see if there's any comments. Okay. Richie, you're watching. Iron Man 3. Yes? You can't have Iron Man 1 and 2 and not have part 3. 3 is really good, actually. It's better than the second one. Okay, now this is something that I like, because I like movies from all decades. This is a great typical 60s crazy comedy. It's a mad world. Yes, I think there's 4 or 5 mads in it. 1, 2, 3, 4 mads. It's a mad world. It's like a crazy road trip movie. Uh, um, well, they all. I can't remember the plot of it. It's something like a rich man has buried some money somewhere, a treasure, and they're all trying to get there first. The one that finds the treasure gets the treasure, or something like that. Very simple plot, but it's fun and it's got tons of stars from that time. Check it out. 4 Mads. Okay, this is a film that I haven't seen, but I have it because it's just Clint Eastwood and Leonardo DiCaprio, J. Edgar. I heard that it's not that great, but I'm thinking Eastwood, DiCaprio, it can't really go wrong. So I'm going to have to check it out. I can't say. If you've seen it, write something to me about it. I don't know. This is a film that I have and I haven't seen. I have a lot of films that I actually haven't seen that I just buy, so... Oh, I should have taken gloves wearing this. Okay. Jack Reacher, Tom Cruise. This is a steelbook. Looks like that on the back. I love the steelbooks. I wish I had all films on steelbook. This is the first film. I'm a little... all the Jack Reacher fans, I haven't read the books, but I read about Jack Reacher, and Tom Cruise apparently doesn't look anything like Jack Reacher, the character in the books, but he was pretty much won over by a lot of fans. And Jack Reacher is the only movie franchise, apart from Mission Impossible, that Tom Cruise has done sequels to. He doesn't do sequels except for Mission Impossible and Jack Reacher. I have not the second one yet. I'm going to buy it. I've seen the second one. Not as good as the first one, but still, Jack Reacher is good entertainment. Pretty gruesome fights in it, and can't go wrong with Cruise. Tom Cruise, all the right moves. Oh yes, another series which I have the first 3 parts on DVD and the 4th on Blu-ray is Jason Bourne. The Bourne trilogy is, I want to say legendary, but it is almost like a modern classic. I love all Bourne movies, including this one. I was very happy when I saw this in the cinema. I was very, very happy with this. I was afraid they're going to make a really bad film, but it was very Bourne-ish. It is, I believe, the weakest one, but that's kind of to be expected. But that doesn't, when I say the weakest one, it's out of 5 stars, it's like a weak 4 or a very, very strong 3. Jason Bourne, good movie, I think. Do I need to comment? Jaws, the first Jaws. This is a really cool Blu-ray with like a book that opens up like this, and it's got like the film there, and it's got lots of it's a book about the making of the film, and it looks like this. It's got like it's basically a book like this with a disc there. I love this. Jaws, absolutely cult movie. You can't go wrong. Steven Spielberg was like 26 when he made this, which makes me want to cry. Okay, I just need to click something away here on my phone, and hopefully I'll be able to continue. Okay. This surprised me. John Wick. I could go on a lot about this. I hadn't heard about this film, but it started to gain like on the internet, and people started talking about it, and film fans that you should check it out. It's really, really good, and Keanu Reeves, best movie since The Matrix, and so on. I checked it out, I bought it, and wow, it is very brutal, and the story is really simple about a guy that takes revenge on people stealing his car and killing his dog. That's basically it. He's like a former assassin that's retired, and somebody just kills his dog, and he has specific reasons why he goes on this revenge trip. John Wick, very bloody, but I have to say the action scenes are some of the best I've ever seen. The choreography of the fights are truly amazing. It's like a ballet. It's like poetic action fighting ballet. Beautiful, but not for everyone, this film. It's pretty much got a lot of killing. The second film I saw in the cinema recently, and it probably has the highest body count I've ever seen in any film. I mean, he must kill 200 people in that film, and it's just, it's still got the beautiful style of the first film, and the whole thing, and the choreography, and the sort of ballet dance-like action with the shooting and everything. He has a very specific way of shooting. That's still in there, but it is very gruesome, the second film, and and the reason for his going out killing people isn't as legitimately, the reason isn't as good as in the first film, but it's a good companion, the second film, but it's not a necessary film. The first one's enough. Okay, from John Wick to Johnny English, and this is Johnny English Reborn, which is the sequel. I like Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson. He's a funny man, and I specifically like his character, Johnny English. He's a little bit more talkative. Mr. Bean is silly, but Johnny English is more suave. It's really a very Bond parody kind of film and character. And I like it. This sequel was very funny in my opinion. It's silly. It's not quality, movie making like Scarface or Godfather, but it fills its purpose. Okay, this is something that everybody has seen, and I need it in my collection. Of course, the Jurassic Park collection. It is necessary. Everybody loves Jurassic Park. Not everybody loves Jurassic Park, but most people like Jurassic Park. This is the trilogy with parts 1, 2, and 3 in it. The first one being, of course, the best. Steven Spielberg's classic first. The effects are still holding up today. John Williams' music is legend. You can't go wrong. It's a great, great film. And I remember my friend Chris McNally, I'm not sure if you're watching, remember when we saw this in Prague together in like 1993? What an experience. I never forget that. I actually know where I've seen the other ones. I saw part 2, The Lost World, in Kalix when I was studying there in 1997. And the third one I saw in my hometown Linköping in Sweden in 2001. The third one is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. If you're having a Jurassic Park marathon, it's it's okay to watch all 3, I think. Of course, I need Jurassic World, which is now the sequel to the third one, so I guess you can call it Jurassic Park 4. Jurassic World really surprised me. I was very, very, very scared, and I thought when they were going to make it, no, this is so passé. You can't make a Jurassic Park film now, so many years later. I went to see it with a really low expectation, but it blew me away. Man, Jurassic World is a fantastic adventure film. It does rip a lot from the first film, but they it's like Star Wars Episode 7. They sort of make what people want. If they make it too different, like they do with the Star Wars prequels or other films, people complain that it's too dark or too different, that it should be like that it was in the beginning. And then they make something that's very, very close to the original, and some people start complaining that it's ripping off the original and blah, blah, blah. I like this, and I'm looking forward to the next one. This is good. I like to have this in my collection. Okay, quickly. Okay. I don't know what to say. The Karate Kid, the remake. Yes, I have Karate Kid, the remake with Will Smith's son and Jackie Chan. I think Jackie Chan is actually really good as Mr. Miyagi. He got me crying. Did I say that? Yeah, I guess I did. Very good acting by Jackie Chan. I think it's his best Hollywood acting movie. He doesn't do much of his karate stuff like in the Rush Hour movies, but from an acting point of view, I think he did a very good job in this. Will Smith's son he's okay. He's no Ralph Macchio, but yeah. Yeah, I need to get the original trilogy. I have the original trilogy on DVD. I need to get it on Blu-ray, I guess. Not necessarily need it, but when I have this one, so, yeah. There's not much karate in it. Apparently, it's Taekwondo or something. Don't quote me on that. I'm just... Okay, this film won the Best Picture back in 2012, 11, 12. The King's Speech. Great performances. Colin... I was going to say Colin Farrell, but sorry. God, what's his name? Colin Firth and Geoffrey Rush. Geoffrey Rush, great actor, one of my favorite actors. This is a great film, typical Oscar material. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Okay, moving quickly along to something completely different, which is a film called Knowing with Nicolas Cage. I like disaster movies. I like to read about this. I don't like disasters to happen in real life, plane crashes and boats sinking and stuff, but when they do happen, I like to look and read about documentaries and stuff, and when they make a film about something like that, it interests me, and this film is basically about that, about like foreseeing disasters and an airplane crash in this case, I believe. It's a fine film, and Nick Cage does his normal Nick Cage stuff. It's a fine, interesting, kind of Sunday night movie. Check it out, Knowing. Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, I saw this in the cinema. I laughed my ass off. I was crying. I was from laughing. I think it's hilarious. Jack Black does the voice. Animated, great, funny film. Kung Fu Panda #2. I haven't seen it. Shame on me. I love the first one, and this came out many years ago, right? Like 2011 or something, and I haven't seen it. There's a third one, which I have not seen either, and I don't have it, but I need to get that. So I'm very excited to check this out one day. Okay. How am I supposed to explain myself? The Lake House. Okay, what is it with my phone? Okay, I think it's working. I don't know if this is working or not. Right? Can somebody write in the comments, yes, it's working. The sound that's coming out of my mouth is synced with the picture. Is it possible to hear me, see me? I hope so. The Lake House. I don't like romantic comedies too much. I like this idea of this. I just happened to see this, I don't know where, on a bus or something once. And I really liked it, and I thought I'd like to have it in my collection. Yeah, it's a little embarrassing. It's kind of a girly movie, but if you're into that, check this out, The Lake House. It's an interesting premise. It's not that typical girl meets boy and, oh, he leaves her and then they find each other in the end. It's not that simple. It has like a good plot. Okay, as everybody knows, Arnold Schwarzenegger was away on a little political career, but when he decided to come back, he came back with a bang. And this is a steelbook of a movie that a lot of people don't like that have seen it, and it's called The Last Stand. This is the steelbook. I don't know why I got steelbook. It was pretty cheap, I think, so that's why I got it. And I like the look of it. It's really like shiny, and I love the picture here at the back. It's a fun action comedy. It's not, you know, the most intelligent film in the world, but I think it's better than it got credit for. It didn't make much money and so on, but it was nice to see Arnold back, and you know, he looks a little bit older, but he can still kick ass. Okay, last video that I had, you can check on my page, I was talking about racing movie. Specifically one called Grand Prix, and I mentioned in my talk there that there's another film in my next video coming up, and here is that film that rivals the legendary Grand Prix movie from 1966, and that is Steve McQueen's Le Mans from 1971, the ultimate racing movie. This is a fantastic racing movie, easily rivals Grand Prix. I can't decide which is the better film, but if you haven't seen this, this is great. Car racing, this is a boy movie, without a doubt. No romance, stupidness. This is a man's film. Le Mans, Steve McQueen. Doesn't get more masculine than that. Check it out. 1971. They don't make movies like this anymore. Okay, this is a movie that is forgotten or nobody knows about it, but it is very special. It's called Legend, and it's directed by Ridley Scott, and it's starring Tom Cruise. It's from 1985. This is a very... I mean, fantasy is the right word. Total fantasy. Unicorns and devils and little dwarfs and creatures and snow and dark forests and creepy sounds, all blended together in a very special film. Very slow moving, so don't expect big action. It's very a poetic film. It's almost like an art movie. But Legend, very special. And this special Blu-ray has two versions. It has the American release and the European release. And what I mean by that is that there's slight angle differences, different camera takes, but most of all is the different music. There's a completely different composer to the American version than it is to the European version. And it has a completely different feel. So I urge to check it out. I can't say which is the better version, but a lot of people don't know about this film. It's called Legend, 1985, so it's quite old. It's one of Tom Cruise's earlier films, before Top Gun. Okay, Les Miserables. This is the 1998 version, which was filmed in Prague with Liam Neeson. This is the better Les Miserables, in my opinion. It's maybe not exactly the way it should be according to the play and everything, but this is not the singing version. The new one, this one, which is the one that came out a couple of years ago, is the musical version. I enjoyed it. It was special because the singing was all recorded live. But if you want to see this story in a non-singing way, check out the 1998 version of Les Miserables. This is normal film storytelling without singing. Then this is the singing one. I collect, of course, everything that Spielberg does. Spielberg was the one that's... yeah, I mean, I grew up with Steven Spielberg. So I got one of his newer movies, Lincoln, about Abraham Lincoln. I can't pronounce that. Abraham Lincoln. Slow film, but amazing acting by Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah, check it out. It's really cool. My phone keeps saying that my storage is full, so I'm not sure this is going out live, but I hope so. Oh, Legend. I love the little men dwarfs or whatever they were. Yeah, Marta. Yeah. I'm happy you've seen Legend. I like people who've seen weird movies like I have. Okay, now for something Czech. Limonado vi Joe. Yes, I got this for Christmas, last Christmas, from my in-laws. And I have seen this film once, and it is very special. All the Czech people can vouch that this is probably like a cult classic Czech film. I like it for what it is. I'm not a big, huge fan of it. I'm not saying that because it's Czech, because I don't judge films, based on from where they are. I just think it's a little crazy, this film. And I don't like the yellow color, or the yellow color they use in the film. It's like really yellow, and then it changes color. And I'm sure it has a purpose. The color changes, but it's a little annoying. But it's a pretty crazy film. So if anyone wants to check a cult Czech movie, this is one. Okay, I enjoyed the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Gore Verbinski was the director of those, the first three. And this film got a lot of crap, really, to say the least. And I don't quite know why. I mean, a lot of people say it's boring, whatever, but I enjoyed this. The Lone Ranger. I'm sure it's nothing like the TV series or how the Lone Ranger should be according to the hardcore fans. But man, this is some of the greatest action ever, man. Like, it's like the train sequence at the end is mind-blowing. I love the Lone Ranger as a fun, adventure-packed film. It is a well-made adventure movie. It can be a little tedious and boring. It's a little overlong. It's actually 149 minutes, but which is a little too long. But so were the Pirates movie. But this movie really, I think, bombed at the box office. And it's a shame. I thought it was quite fun, you know, sue me. Okay, this is something that I think everybody who likes movies must have, or, you know, adventure action movies. Classic Mad Max. Yes, the first Gibson movie from 1979. This version has the American dubbed version and the Australian original sound. Meaning that when it was released in the States, they couldn't understand Australian dialect, so they redubbed the Australian English with American accents to make it sound more American. And this film has both those versions, but watch the Australian version because that's the original sound. Everything that's original should always be watched original in any language. The great classic cult follow-up Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, which is what it was called, Road Warrior in the States, because I think this was released before the first Mad Max film. So when this became a hit, they re-released the first film as Mad Max, and this was just simply called The Road Warrior. But in the on-screen title is Mad Max 2. The very disappointing third film, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, it's the one with Tina Turner from 1985. Music's good, but oh man, was I disappointed with this. I almost fell asleep. I don't know why. The first two are great. This is a major disappointment in my opinion. And, I should have seen the new Mad Max that came out, what was it, like last year or 2 years ago now? I don't have it. I haven't seen it. Shame on me. Everyone says it's amazing. I need to check it out. Okay, here's another cartoon movie series that I have. I have part 1 on DVD. I'm going to get on Blu-ray probably because I have Madagascar 2 on Blu-ray. This is really funny. Really, really funny. I like really well-made Hollywood animation movies, and this is one of my favorite. Ice Age is probably more fun in my opinion, but this is certainly very, very funny. So, and the first one, this is number 2, and I have, of course, number 3, which I haven't seen yet, but I saw the trailer when it came out, and I laughed hysterically. So I'm very excited to see this. I haven't seen it. I just need to find the time to watch all these films. Another Czech film won the best Oscar in 1996, Kolja. This is a great Czech film. Check it out if you haven't seen it. This is, I think, every Czech person has seen this. This is a classic Czech film from the 90s. Good drama, comedy drama, I would say, with Jan Svěrák in the main role. He's one of the most famous Czech actors. And his young son, is the director of it, and they made many films together. This is a weird film, which I don't know why I have, but it's Jim Carrey, because I like Jim Carrey, of course. But this is one of his dramatical roles, The Majestic. It is by Frank Darabont, who made The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. And this was another film he made, and it wasn't very successful. It's not that great. It's about some guy that comes back home from being away, and he's mistaken for being another person or something. It's like some poor attempt to make a really good drama. You might find it interesting and fun. It's a very long film, 152 minutes, so it's a little tedious. But The Majestic with Jim Carrey trying to be serious. Okay, and I have also here a film which I don't particularly like, so I don't know why I bought it, but it just occurred to me that I should collect things with Robert De Niro in it. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It's from 1994, I believe. Yeah, it pretty much says everything. it's a modern Frankenstein movie. It's not bad. It's got okay stuff in it, and it's, if you like Frankenstein, you might want to check this out if you haven't seen it. It's from 1994. Robert De Niro's in it, so that's always good. Okay, now this is a film that a lot of people don't know about, but this gave birth to the legendary series MASH. This is the film MASH. And the film MASH came before the series. The series was born from this film. Very special film. It's got Donald Sutherland in it. It's from 1970, I think, or 71. Yeah, 1970. This is a great film, and it's all about improvisation. They had a script, of course, and they had a main plot, but a lot of the acting is very, very made up on the set when they were filming. And the style of this film was very different. Anything from what has been made before. It was all very controlled with scripts and stuff before, but this was very like loose, and it was very strange for the actors to be so free in their acting. And I've seen the documentary. It's very interesting. MASH. Don't put this down because you don't like the TV series. Check it out. The film is very different. MASH the movie. Check it out. Meet Joe Black. Anthony Hopkins, Brad Pitt. Long film about the devil being Brad Pitt. I don't know what to call this, if it's a romantic thriller drama, I guess is the right word. It's beautifully shot, well acted, it's a good 90s movie, and it's a good date movie, I guess. But it's, again, quite a long film, I believe. I'm not going to say the running times of every film I have, but I am just saying that it is quite long. Yeah, 3 hours long. Meet Joe Black is a good film, in my opinion. Okay, I like I like screwball American comedies. Not all of them, but some of them, and this is one of my favorites. It's Meet the Parents. You can't really go wrong with this. This is one of Robert De Niro's first comedy roles. It's not his first comedy role, it's one of his first comedy roles. This is a funny premise, just like it is, you know, guy meets girl and he's gonna meet her parents, and the parents being, the father being Robert De Niro, who goes crazy and tests this guy. It is full of hilarious moments, trying to impress the parents, and it all goes not so well, of course. It was a giant hit. I thought it was very funny. So, of course, a couple of years later, they made Meet the Fockers, which is reverse. I believe she meets his parents in this film. And it's a fun sequel. The Meet the Fockers is... what can I say? It's a good sequel. It's a funny sequel. It's maybe even funnier than the first one. A lot of people didn't like this. This was made a couple of years later. This is the third film in that trilogy. It's called Little Fockers. Meet the Parents, Little Fockers. You have to be very careful how you say that. This film is the weakest one. It's when they have kids, and it all starts to go a little cheaper by the dozen style. But it's still got funny scenes, but it's not the one that I would choose to watch. If I have a Meet the Parents marathon, of course you put this on to sort of close the whole story. I don't think there'll be any more of these. Okay, next one is Memoirs of a Geisha. This is a good film, produced by Steven Spielberg, I believe. Not directed by him, but produced by him. I liked this when I saw it in the cinema. I haven't seen it since. I've seen it on television a couple of times, just flicked through it. I enjoyed this film. It's a beautiful film with beautiful shots and production design and the camera work. The story is a little yeah, what it is, but it's entertaining and it's definitely worth a look. I recommend this film. It's not the greatest film in the world, but certainly a fine produced, well-made film. Just gonna see with yeah, I know, Juan, I know, but you know, I'm gonna make one of those meetings with you, for, the fads, I promise. Okay, moving on quickly. This is I'm trying to finish soon. I've been talking a long time now. Men in Black. Yes, 1997 classic. Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones. Everybody's seen this. I'm not going to talk about this. This is awesome. I love it. Men in Black is cool. This is a terrible film. Men in Black 2. It's awful. I was very disappointed in this. I don't know what it is. It's just a rushed kind of film, trying to just... It just falls flat somehow. I don't know what it is, but it's just a bad sequel. And I was very, very disappointed with this. It has some great special effects and so on, but it is far from the quality of the first film. However, they listened to their fans, and when they made Men in Black 3, I went into this with a very skeptical mind. It was made many years after the first two. But man, this is a great film. I mean, part 1 is the best, but part 3 is very good. It had a very problematic production. It just went on forever, and they stopped shooting and went back to reshoot, and that's never good. So I expected really bad stuff about this. But Men in Black 3 is actually very, very entertaining, in my opinion. I love this film, and the marketing they did for this film when this came out here in Prague was crazy. They had Men in Black people dressed as Men in Black all over town, in the subways, on tram stations, just randomly standing with their guns not moving and their sunglasses, and it was a fabulous marketing campaign for this, and it certainly worked out. I went into this skeptical, but I came out smiling. Men in Black 3 is a vast improvement over part 2. Okay, I'm going to quickly go through this. I'm a Michael Jackson fan, so I have to have some Michael Jackson stuff. This is one of the greatest documentaries about Michael Jackson. It's called The Legend Continues, or something like that. Yeah, anyway, it's the Czech title. I don't know what the English title, but this is how it looks like. If you want a full documentary about Michael's life and interviews with people who knew him and who speak well about him, and they cry when they talk about his death, and really emotional stuff, and it tells a very good, proper, in my opinion, story about his life. So that's just for the fans. Oh yeah, I have to mention this, of course. Speaking of Michael Jackson, this is a movie which was released in the cinema in the UK, and it was Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. One of the weirdest films you'll ever come across. It's total Michael Jackson, total his brain, his fantasy, his world, his thinking. It's lots of music videos mixed with some kind of story which is about saving children that are kidnapped, and I'm not going to go into all this, but I saw this luckily in the cinema, and as a fan of Michael Jackson, this was a blast. Great, of course, music in this film. Okay, I'm doing whatever I started with. I started with the letter I, and I'm ending on O, and now we're on M, so we're reaching the end. So I'm just, because I've been speaking, oh my goodness, for like 40 minutes, I think. This is Angelina Jolie, A Mighty Heart. It's a fine film, a pretty good film. It's very depressing, about a true story from the, what is it, the Iraqi war? Or the Afghan war. She loses her husband, who's a reporter, and she's trying to find out who killed him, why he was killed, or something like that. It's one of those very depressing films. But, you know, based on true story is always interesting to see. A Mighty Heart. Okay. This is maybe one of those cases where I don't mind having part 1 and 2 in the same box. As I said earlier, that I like to have them separately. In this case, I'll make an exception. Miss Congeniality 1 and part 2. Part 2 is called Armed and Fabulous. I've seen these once. I found them quite entertaining. They're not the best kind of films, but you know, they serve its purpose. Sandra Bullock's always fun to watch, in my opinion. So this is this. It's a double bill. Good for Sunday morning after hard evenings party. Maybe you can put these on and have a good laugh. Okay, this is of course a must-have. Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise, all the right moves. Mission Impossible. This is the box set with slim discs, which I'm not too proud of, but it was a very good buy. And this is the first one, which is, in my opinion, probably still the best one. Well, not one. I can't say that it is the best one, but when it was a trilogy, still, this was the best one. I have a soft spot for part 2, which a lot of people don't like, but part 2 is John Woo, and it's great. It really, if you don't understand part 2, then you don't understand it. But I remember seeing this with my friends in Sweden, and we had such a great time watching this. Mission Impossible 2 is underrated, but it isn't the best one in the series. Part 3 is, of course, this one, which is the debut of J.J. Abrams, who's gone on to a hell of a career. But this was his feature film debut. Mission Impossible 3 was intense. It's got lots of running. Tom Cruise running. I mean, is there any other actor that does more running than Tom Cruise? If you want to see Tom Cruise running and from explosions and over bridges and just being really intense, Mission Impossible 3 is the film for you. Of course, continuing on the series that I had to buy separately was Ghost Protocol, Mission Impossible number 4, which is really good in my opinion. I really like this. All the missions are fantastic. They got different styles, different directors, and that's what's keeping this series alive. This is awesome. It was partly also shot in Prague, which is extra awesome. But after part 4, I thought they're going to end it. I thought it's good to end it kind of now, but now they have to make part 5, and I was like, no, I don't know, this is not going to end well. But man, part 5, Rogue Nation, is awesome as well. It just keeps on building, and it's just good, and it's just, this is good action. Take note, all the CGI people. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, part 5 in a series. That's awesome. That's very rare. Check it out. This is great. Okay, I'm slowly getting to the end. In my last video, or my first video, I showed you American Graffiti, which was George Lucas's first movie. He made actually a sequel to it, which is called More American Graffiti. Actually, I am going to correct myself. He didn't make it. It's directed by someone completely different, but he's the producer of it. And it takes place like 10 years after the first one. A lot of people don't know this movie exists. They know the first one. The first one's classic, legendary, cult movie. This is a forgotten sequel. Rightly so in many ways, but if you like American Graffiti, this is a fine follow-up, and it's interesting. It's completely different in style, but it's got a lot of the people that were in the first film are in this as well. Okay, and ending on M is, again, a set of films franchise that I enjoyed, The Mummy. This is Mummy Part 3, which is called Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, and this is really the weakest one. However, when it came out, I was quite satisfied with it. It fulfilled my expectation of it. The only thing was that they changed the actress who plays his wife. The first one being Rachel Weisz, who's in the first 2 films, and she's replaced by Maria Bello, I think her name is, yeah. And she does an okay job, but when you're used to characters being portrayed by specific actors, it puts you off when you see someone else in the role. And that is the case in this film. But, however, this is a fine part 3. You know, part 3, for a part 3, It's good. It's directed by Rob Cohen, who did Triple X and the first Fast and Furious, and he also did Daylight with Stallone, and they're all solid action films. So you know, if you want good action, it's fine. This film. Okay. Never Say Never Again, the unofficial James Bond film starring Sean Connery. It's precious to me, but it is a flawed film and slightly embarrassing in many parts. And it's just not satisfactory, you know. And it's unofficial because it's not made by the Broccoli's, Ian Productions, which are all the official films. So they couldn't use the James Bond theme, they couldn't use the gun barrel logo or any of those very much important ingredients that are needed in a Bond film, and without it, it's just somehow just barely a Bond film. But it is Sean Connery, he's older, and it's interesting to see from a historical James Bond point of view. But it is not great. It's a remake of Thunderball, which is a much, much better film, of course. Okay, I'm getting to the end, bear with me. Night of the Museum 1 and 2. It's one of those things where I have part 1 and 2 together in a collection. Ben Stiller is a funny man. I enjoy watching his films. He's a funny thing. As I said, Meet the Parents I like. So naturally I wanted to get this. This is part 1 and 2. Part 1 is awesome. Not awesome, but it's very entertaining and fun. Part 2 is very disappointing in my opinion. But it made a lot of money, and there is a part 3 which I haven't seen. And part 3 I want to see just for the sake of watching Robin Williams, who passed away, and I think Night of the Museum Part 3 was the last film he made, so I want to see it because of that. Oliver Stone, JFK, you know, Platoon and so on. Also did a film which a lot of people haven't seen. It's called Nixon from 1995 with Anthony Hopkins. I think this is good. It is fine, and it is a great epic kind of film about Richard Nixon, obviously. And he has some kind of thing about American presidents, Oliver Stone, and American politics. I mean, JFK, Nixon, and then he made, in 2004, he made a film called W, just the letter W, about George W. Bush. But this is a great film, in my opinion. A very long film, 3 hours. But if you're interested in this kind of stuff, Nixon is a good movie. Okay, I'm going to end this now. Just 3 films left, I think. The Coen Brothers, No Country for Old Men, is an awesome film. I really enjoyed this. Scary. Javier Bardem is an awesome actor. This is a kind of scary film, and you can't go wrong with the Coen Brothers. Coen Brothers do great movies, and they're so different, the films. But their style and their just the cinematography and the directing is also great. No Country for Old Men. Not everybody likes this. I like it. It was nominated for Best Film. Okay, I have this on Steelbook because the Steelbook is so beautiful. It's an action film called Non-Stop with Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson is somehow the new action hero of the 2000s or the 10s with the movie Taken and the trilogy Taken. This is a typical action film set on an airplane. It takes place, 95% of the film is on an airplane. There's lots of shooting, which is weird because you can't really fire guns in airplanes. But it's fairly tense, but the problem is that there's lots of SMSing in the film. Lots of just looking at phones and looking on who could be the killer and so on. So it's a little, yeah, I think it's a fairly short film, thank God. But it's a fairly solid action movie, but it's not that good. But it's a Sunday morning movie, non-stop. Okay, I need to end now, but I have 2 films left. Okay, this is a good film in my opinion, and a lot of people have seen this. It's called The Other Boleyn Girl, with Scarlett Johansson and Eric Bana and Natalie Portman, about Henry VIII and his second wife, I believe, and her sister, the ones that were cut. He cut their heads. This is kind of a modern take on it. but it's got great costumes and fairly good acting. It's not a brilliant film, but it's an okay film, The Other Berlin Girl. And my final film is Olympus Has Fallen, a rival movie to White House Down, which is exactly the same thing. And I prefer White House Down. This is too almost gruesome, dark, but it's fairly good action, as I said. And you know, if you want to check out usually films that come out the same year about the same thing, it's always fun to check out both of them and then make a comparison. Olympus Has Fallen has a sequel called London Has Fallen, which I haven't seen, which I'm not really that interested in seeing, but I guess I'll see it someday. If you want to see lots of action and the White House blowing up and stuff, this is the film for you. It's kind of a cheap Independence Day. That's not really fair, but yeah, anyway. Okay, that's all films that I have now. Up to O. Next time we'll talk about P to the end, I guess. P to X and Z. I hope you enjoyed this. If you didn't see me live now, I'm going to end it and you can rewatch it. It's like an hour or 45 minutes at least. Probably an hour that I've been speaking now. So I'm going to say good night. It's time to go to bed. I hope you like this. I hope you'll enjoy my next video, which will be the last one probably about my Blu-ray collection. And then we'll see what happens. So good night and take care.